Hold it.
Yeah.
But please tell me if I'm not recording, so you guys can watch it later if you get confused. But length is 4 more than twice the width is this equation, okay? So that's your length, so I'm gonna put it in here. Length is equal to 2w plus 4, and width is just width, and length here is also 2 width plus 4, okay? How do you find the perimeter now? We're talking about perimeter equation. What's the perimeter equation of a rectangle?
2L plus 2Y, 2W.
Right? And then here, each L is 2W plus 4. So we're going to substitute this in. Then we get perimeter is 2 times by L, which is 2W plus 4 plus 2W. And then they said perimeter is what? Perimeter is 3 less than, I see this word again, but then you have to switch the one right before and right after. Okay, so what's before is 3, and right after is 7 times the width. So I'm going to write it as perimeter is 3 less than 7 times the width. That's how you convert this, okay? And then I'm going to set the perimeter is equal to perimeter here. So I'm going to set two perimeters equal to each other. So now it would be 7w minus 3 is equal to 2 parentheses 2w plus 4 plus 2w. See if you can understand this part. You should be able to do this on your own. Length is 4 more than twice the width. Perimeter is 3 less than 7 times the width. So perimeter is 2w plus 2l. And then you're going to set it equal to the perimeter given, which is 7w minus 3. Can you guys all try this question one more time without my help? This is really important. Try this question one more time and give me the length and the width. Dimension is asking for the length and the width. Okay? Okay, did you guys do it? What did you get?
The width is 11 and the length is 26.
You can write it as 11 by 26. Any questions? We're moving on to more questions here. Can you guys try some questions here? There are 10 questions in this case. Yeah, let's work on number 1 through 7. I want equation. Just don't plug in a number, please, here. Like, if you think that numbers are 20, 40, don't just plug in. I need mathematical equation. I'm not just interested in your answer. Your work is more important, okay? You can have your speaker off. Okay, are you guys done? Okay, let's go over these. So have your speaker on. Stop echoing this room. Okay, so can you guys tell me what you did? Who wants to start? Any volunteer?
I'll go.
Okay, that's right.
So Henry's X, Henry solved a certain number, and then but his older brother Frank is Y, and he solved 3 times more. So Y times 3.
Wait, y is what?
Y times 3, since he solved 3 times
Oh,
more.
so did you say x equals to y times 3?
Yeah.
Um, Here they said the brother solved 3 times as many. So who solved more? Did Henry solve more or the brother solve more?
Older brother Frank.
Brother.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So his brother solved 3 times as many, means his brother is faster. Then you have to set it up as brother is equal to 3 times the slower one, Henry. So when Henry does 10 questions for X, his brother Y does 30 questions Y. Does that make sense? Okay, and together they solved 60. So that's summation. And then if you plug in, you get x equals 15 and y equals to 45, right? So Henry did 15 and brother did 45. Does this make sense, everyone? Okay. So I know the wording is really confusing in math. So you should really think about which one is more. So one of the very confusing question I think is like color question. Like it's a little bit easier to imagine that he has a brother who's faster, but when you have like marble, it's kind of hard to imagine it. So question like there are, oops, I'm just gonna write it here. If there are 3 times as many red as blue. Is there more red or blue? Oops. Yeah. In this sentence, is there more red or blue?
Red.
There are 3 times as many red as blue, means there is more red. So you have to set it up as red is equal to 3 times blue. Because if you have one blue, you have 3 red. Does that make sense? So it's better to kind of think while you're translating here instead of just directly translating without thinking. Okay, so please don't get confused there. All right, who wants to go next? Okay, Curie, can you go? Can you tell me what you did? You don't have to read the question this time.
4x
So X is George, right? And Francis is Y then.
y equals 4x.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so Francis is Y and Y equals 4x. That's good. And then what's the second equation?
X plus y equals 90.
Okay, if you solve it, what do you get for X? What do you get for X?
20. x 72.
Wait, x is, you got x equals 72? X should be some smaller number. What did you guys get?
Oh,
What did you guys get? Oh, y equals 72. So in your equation, y has to be 72 and x has to be 18. So together there are 90 and it's 4 times as many. Okay, that's good. Next one, Joelle, can you go?
This one I had a question on it.
Yeah, how many edges are in a cube? So
Four.
just draw the lines there. Okay, I drew 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11, 12. There are 12 edges. Or you can do it like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in the back, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the side. So it's total of 12 edges in a cube or a rectangle, okay? So can you find the length of each edge then?
Oh, 2.
Right, each edge is 2. And then, what did you do further?
Wouldn't the length be 2 then?
The length of, oh yeah, there is 2. Good job. Perfect. Okay. Sarah, can you go next?
Question 4.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So I
Which one
put
is it?
house as X and lot as Y. So the first part is a house and a lot are worth 15,600. So X plus Y equals 15,600. And then for the second equation, I put X, which is house, it equals 12Y.
Perfect. Okay.
And then, okay, so I put Y equals 1200 and X equals 14,400.
Okay. Good job. 14,400. Any questions here? Okay, you did a very good job. Okay, next one. Nuri.
Length of the part underwater as y, and then the part out of water as x. So
Okay.
it is, what's it? But it 3x equals 30. So then
Okay. Not 3x equals 30. Think it again. There's a total height of 30 here. And then out of water is 3 times the in the water. And in the water is y, and outside the water is x. And x equals to 3 times y. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you set up the equation, then x plus y is equal to. Oh, I'm sorry. The height up here above the water is 30. I thought the total was 30. Okay, can you go back and tell me what to do afterwards?
on the value of y, which is 10.
Okay.
So then I did 3 times 10 to find x. Wait, no, what?
They give you the height of above the water. That's 30 already. So
Oh, it's just 10. There's nothing more. It's just y equals 10.
right. So there is only just one equation here in this question, right? They gave you the number that's above the water. Above the water means it's out of the water, right? And we said the out of water is x. So they just gave you 30 there. So first equation is x equals to 30, and then they said x is equal to 3 times the length of inside. So wait, x equals above the water is x, and that is 3 times the length of part that's under the water. Yeah, that's right. And then if you solve for y is equal to 10. So that's the answer. It's not, it's the rather simpler equation. So that's why we got more confused. Okay, next one. Cedric. How did you do this one? You don't have to read it. Just tell me your equation. Oh, Cedric, are you muted? Oh, I can't hear you.
Huh?
I don't understand like how this canal looks like. How did you guys do it?
I did it in a different way.
Oh no, for question 6.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
I made the cut x, so cut equals x. And then since the canal is 50, I made the rest 9x because it says the rest of the canal is about 9 times the length of the cut. That equals
You make
10.
it y.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you put that together, that equals 10x equals 50 miles.
Can you give me equation here? Y equals to 9 times x, right?
Yeah.
And then x plus y is equal to 50. Okay, now you put this inside there, then you get 10x equals 50, then you get x equals to 5, and then y is equal to 45. Okay, good job. Who wants to go for the last one?
I can.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so I put Matthew's kite string as x and Joseph's as y. So x equals 3y. And then so the second equation, if the strings were tied together, blah, blah. So 1/10 of a mile, so I did a proportion, so 1 over 10 equals 528 over 5,280. So second equation is x plus y equals 528.
Good job.
Next I did, so I plugged in so 3y plus y equals 528, which equals 4y equals 528. So y equals 132. Then in the beginning, x equals 3y, y is 132, x equals 396.
Perfect, good job. So how was it? Is it doable? Right, okay. So do the question 8 through 10 for homework. And then let's look at this part. This part looks a little bit harder. We already learned linear, right? Y goes to mx and stuff. You guys can have your speaker off now. Sorry, this room is empty, so I'm echoing a lot. So I need to feel something in this room. I don't know why it's echoing so much in empty room. Okay, so we learned the linear model, y equals mx plus b, and the keyword for the word problem for linear model is the constant. So remember, when you increase by every year, y goes up by the same amount, right? So the key word here is the constant. So in this type of word questions, we're gonna see the word constant. Example is really hard. Let's read it together. Can you read this question for us, Sarah?
A person travels
Joel,
home from work.
yeah, go ahead.
A person travels home from work at a constant speed. 10 minutes after leaving work, he is 20 miles from home, and 20 minutes after leaving work, he is 12 miles away, 12 miles from home. If he continues to travel at the same speed, how long will it take him to arrive home from work?
Okay, let's read this more carefully. He's going from work to home at a constant speed. 10 minutes after leaving work, for 10 minutes, he has traveled this much, for example. He is 20 miles from home. So I'm going to write that distance is equal to 20 miles from home. So he still has to go 20 more miles, okay? And 20 minutes after leaving his work, so minutes after means, oops. 20 minutes after leaving his work means he went 10 more minutes from there, right? 10 minutes and 10 minutes, so total of 20 minutes. He is now 12 miles from the home. So now the distance left over here is 12 miles. Does everything make sense so far? Here's work, and here's home. How long will it take him to arrive home from work? So you're finding the time, okay? Here, if you need the equation, I can give you some equation that it's really important to know. You have to know this equation that tells you that distance is equal to rate times time. And then if you want to solve for the rate is distance over time. And time is equal to distance over rate. So you see, the rate is like the speed, how fast, okay? And the time, you guys already know what time is, and then that's the distance. You're not using all the equations, but you might need to select one of these three. In any question, you never really use all these three equations. You only choose one of them. Okay, so you can choose like any of these equations and try to answer this question. Can you guys think it over and over and try it? It's hard, but it's not impossible. I think I was doing this type of question when I was in 6th grade. Because my hagwon was very intense. Did you guys figure it out? Okay, so the key here, you gotta figure out where to start. It's not easy to do, but you gotta start from the region that you know the time and distance both, okay? So here in this region, you don't know about the distance, right? In this region, you don't know about the time, but in this region, you know both time and distance. So you got to take a look at this part, okay? What is the time in that interval? 10 minutes, right? That was extra 10 minutes. 10 minutes and then 10 minutes. So we're talking about this extra, the second 10-minute region, okay? What about the distance there? What do you think the distance there is?
12 miles? No, wait.
What is
8
it?
miles. 8 miles.
20 minus 12. Do you see how the orange is 20 there? And then blue is 12. And our region is in between them, like the difference of them. So it's 8 miles. Okay, so that is your speed. They said it's going at the same speed. So you should have found out the speed. Speed is, you're going 8 miles in 10 minutes. That's your speed, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, speed is 8 miles per 10 minutes. Okay, now it's asking, how long will it take him to arrive home from work? It's asking from work to home, the entire region, right? It's asking how long, it's asking for time. So we're gonna set up a proportion. If you go 8, oops, this is a little hard, right? If you're going 8 miles per 10 minutes, then how long does it take to go? How many, what's the mile in total from work to,
20.
anybody know it?
Total is 20.
Where is 20? From here to here is 20. After you went for 10 miles, we figured out that you go 10, the distance you travel for 10 minutes is 8 miles, right? So this was 10 minutes. So this is another 10 minutes. Then you should have traveled 8 miles now. Now you know it's 8 miles because you went for 10 minutes. If you go 10 minutes, then you have to travel the same distance as this 10 minutes. And this was 8 that we found out, right? So this will be another 8. So altogether, it will be 28 miles. This is very logical and hard question. There could be different way to do it, but this will give you the answer. If you solve for x, that will be the answer. Can you guys calculate it?
$35.
35, okay, thank you. So it takes 35 minutes, and that's your final answer. Okay, don't worry about this question too much. It's like really overcomplicated question, but I wanted you to show, like us to try a really complicated one because these questions are hard. But I think this is the hardest question of everything. But get some distance rate time idea. Let's try these two questions. These are hard as well. Okay, so I'll give you enough time. So try these two questions. Okay, let's go over this. Did you get to do it? Did you get answers? Oh, wow, okay. So let's do it together. Number one, at the beginning of the trip, the tank alcohol car was filled with 12 and she traveled constantly, so this is linear, uh, on the highway 60 miles per hour. The car consumed 1 gallon of gas for 35 miles. She traveled 5 hours and 50 minutes at a constant speed of 60. So they repeated that 60 miles per hour. So we don't need this information anymore. They're just, it's just a duplicate. How many gallons of gas are left in the tank? But there are so many things going on here. There is a like gallon and miles and time. Like they talk about 5 hours and 15 minutes. It's just so complicated, right? So what I really recommend you to do is to work with the distance, rate, time first. Ignore the gallon. Okay, so we're not gonna do anything with the gallon part here. Gallon, just erase all the gallon information. We eliminated the repeated one. Then we're just left with this speed and time, right? So what is our speed rate? Can you guys have your speaker on, everyone? Well, what is the rate speed here?
60 miles per hour.
That's right, 60 miles per hour. Now, since it's an hour, every time has to be in an hour. Do we know time? 5 hours and 50 minutes. How much is 15 minutes in an hour?
Oh, 1/4.
Right, a quarter. So it's a quarter of an hour. And in decimal, that's 5.25 hours. Does this make sense so far? I just wrote down the rate and time. Rate and time. Does that make sense? Okay, and then I gave you the equation here. The missing part here is the distance. What's the distance equation, Joel? Here, what's the distance equation?
Oh, G equals R times T.
Rate times time. Distance is equal to rate times time. So what's rate in our case?
The rate is 60 miles per hour.
Right, what about time?
5 hours and 1/4.
Right, which is 5.25 hours. So that is our distance. Okay, what do you get if you calculate this?
315.
Thank you, 315 miles. That means if you go at 60 miles per hour for 5 hours and 50 minutes, you traveled 315 miles. So we're done with the distance. Does everything make sense so far? Okay, and then we're gonna talk about gallon because the question is asking for gallon, right? So let's undo our erase part here. We need that information now. Okay, now they say it was filled with 12 gallons of gas, okay, and then it takes 1 gallon of gas for 35 miles. So that gave us some rate. Okay, can you tell me what to do? Any idea?
315 divided by 35.
Okay, you can do that. Or let's use the proportion. So if you go with a 1 gallon of gas, you go 35 miles. What about 315 miles? How many gallons you need, right? So you can just simply divide it by 35, or you can do the proportion here. Good job. What do you get for x if you do it this way?
9.
Okay, x equals 9. So that means you used 9 gallons of gas. Then how many is left over? How many gallons of gas is left over?
3.
Right, 12 minus 9 is 3. So I think this question was really, really hard, but basically you still have to find the distance using the RT equation and then do the proportion with gas because the more you travel, the more gas you use, right? So it's a proportion. Is this hard? Of course it is. How many still understand how to do this one? Like after I explain it, how many of you understand this?
I got the right answer
Uh-huh.
and kind of understand.
Okay. Okay, let's look at number 2. A rock climber is climbing up 450 feet high. At 9:30, the climber reached 90 feet. At 11, he has reached 210 feet up, right? So what's his rate? How much did he travel in what time? He traveled from 90 to 210 feet, so that's 210 minus 90 feet, right? Within the time from 11 a.m. minus 9:30 a.m. So what's 210 minus 90?
120.
120 feet. So he traveled 120 feet. And then over, what is 11 minus 9:30?
1 hour and 30 minutes.
Right, 1 hour, 30 minutes. So that's 1.5 hours. This is his rate. Is this 80 or no? What is it?
80.
Okay, so it's 80. So he climbs up at 80 feet per hour. And then since he's climbing up at a constant rate, we can just use the speed, okay? Oops, oops. Okay, what time will he reach the top of the cliff? So let's start from the 90 feet here at 9:30. You're gonna have the starting point, okay? So I'm gonna start here. Oh, you right now it's like 9:30 and then you're 90 feet above the cliff, okay? How many more feet is there to go? If you're like 90 feet above and the top is 450, how many feet more do you have to go?
60.
360 feet, right? There are 360 feet left. So we're gonna use the proportion. If you go 80 feet in 1 hour, how much time is needed to go 360 feet? Okay,
4.5 hours. 4 hours.
4.5 hours. And then add that from 9:30. So if you go 9:30, then if you add 4.5 hours, what time would that be? So 9:30 plus 3 hours will be 12:30. And then think about that way. Can you guys tell me what time it would be?
1:30.
Mm,
Wait, no. Wait, I suck at time. I suck at time. Oh,
9:30 plus 4.5 hours.
2 o'clock.
2.
2 o'clock. Good job. So the answer is 2 o'clock. Okay, so these types were probably hard for some of you, but it's still linear and proportion and DRT that everything you learned. Okay, so you guys can do this part for homework. This is really hard. So if you think it's just too much, then don't do it. It's fine. Make it really hard in here. Okay, so let's do more distance rate time questions now. Okay, so I want you to learn how to write DRT all together. This means that D equals rate times time, rate equals distance over time, and time equals distance over rate. So you can get 3 equations with this writing one. Okay, so I'm gonna ask each of you, Nuri, what's the distance equation?
Rate times time.
Good. Sarah, what's the rate equation?
Distance divided by time.
Good job. Cedric, what's the time equation?
time equation, isn't it distance? Time is distance divided by speed.
Distance divided by rate. Okay?
Oh,
Yuri, what's the distance equation?
Rate times time.
Good. Rate times time, and rate means speed, okay? Joel, I have your speaker on. What's the rate equation?
Rate times
Rate is equal to
the time.
rate is distance divided by time. You just have to read the D and then this becomes Y. Time equation is distance over rate, and distance equation is rate times time. Okay, can you please memorize this? I learned this in like middle school. So you guys have to know this one. Okay? I'm not asking too much. You really have to know it. Yes. Okay, and let's read oh, and then there is an average speed equation. What is the average speed equation? Does anybody know? Speed is like that. So it's a distance over time, right? But it's not just the distance over time, but it's a total distance traveled over total time. So know this equation as well. Okay. Example question. What's the velocity or speed of the car in miles per hour if it goes 40 miles in 35 minutes? So you can do the conversion or anything you want. Can you guys try? Okay, so what you can do is to convert this to an hour. So if you want to convert 35 minutes to an hour, then you know that there's 60 minutes in an hour. Then how many hours is equal to 35 minutes? If you do this, x will be equal to 35 divided by 60. That's how much hour this is. And what you can do further is to just do the mile divided by time. So you do, it's asking for mile divided by time. So mile is 40 miles. And divided by hour, hour is 7 over 12 hours. So that will give you the answer. Can you tell me how much that is?
40. Wait,
How much is this?
$68.57.
68 miles per hour. Then that's the answer. You understand this one?
yeah.
Okay. Word problems could be a little bit hard. Um, so for homework, you guys are doing this one, this page for homework. And this one as well. Remember? And then we're probably gonna do this tomorrow. I mean on Wednesday. Okay, so just do 2 pages for homework and try to review the ones that we did today, okay?
Okay.
Right. Bye, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks for class.